Hi, I'm Steve, and this is my first devlog. So I'm building a website called Drupal Matic, and it's to basically learn Drupal. So when I built this site, I want to kind of just log my progress in it and talk about it and give updates and see the whole journey as the site's being built. Uh, so far, I've built the landing page and I've architectured the site with the layout paragraphs and stuff like that. And I was just going to give an update of what I've done so far and kind of what I'm aiming to do next. So since this is the first video, I figured I'd just go around the site a little bit, considering I've already started on the site, so it's not brand new, and then go through that. So first, if we go to appearance, I'll just kind of show some of the themes I'm using. So you can see I have my custom theme here, and then I'm using Gin, as my base theme. And then I'm using a an admin theme for Gin. And then my base theme is Drupal, which is basically like a CSS library JavaScript, and it gives you custom properties so you can actually go and set values yourself. I'll just give you a quick look at that, because I'll just click around the site for a little bit and show some things and what I've done. So you can see here, I have this Drupal guides for prod sites, some copyright text. I have some, why am I doing this? Right now, this is kind of just copyright text or some placeholder text. And then kind of like featured guides. So the idea is that I'm going to have guides and devlogs. Guides are going to be specific kind of like tutorials on how to do something, whereas a devlog is what I'm doing now, which is, just talking about updates on the site. And then, browse all 10. You have your devlogs each here, your Drupal version, the time, and then an About Me section here, which kind of talks about some of my experience. I've been doing Drupal for 4 years now. I called it build log here, but it's going to be called devlog. And then here, the idea is you click here. I don't have the page built yet, but here is where you can actually go and see all of the devlogs. So I can kind of show a journey of how the site was made, like as I'm making it, because this is something I'm doing on the side, kind of like a passion project. So I think it would be really neat to just track it and get people's feedback and stuff like that. And then here we have our call to action, which will probably be some sort of guide or checklist or something to basically have an email and then be able to just give updates on when the guides come out and stuff like that, and being very clear that, hey, I'm not going to spam anyone. Super easy to unsubscribe. So I want to also be very transparent, because I know privacy is so important nowadays that it's something that I think about too. And I think that one of the things when I go to actually make the site live, I want to make sure that it's very narrow and specific. Like if I do collect an email or something like that, to be very transparent, this is exactly how we're using it, because that's important. And then here it's Drupal Matic, links for the rest of the stuff. I have to fix this because these shouldn't be underlined all the time. And that's basically the gist of it. If I go to content, I'll kind of show how I built the page. So here I have a content type called basic page, and I'm using layout paragraphs. So layout paragraphs, mind you, some of these things aren't styled very well inside of the layout paragraphs, but basically I have one field called field components, and that points to paragraphs, and those paragraphs have single directory components. So if we go and we look at the content type basic page, manage fields, we see components, it points to paragraphs, and we can go and look at the actual paragraphs themselves. So you can see here's all the paragraphs, the card, media section tab. We have one layout container because with paragraphs, like you need a layout container to put your paragraphs inside of them, and then the paragraphs have the fields themselves. So basically, these are attached to an actual like single directory component. So if I go and I do manage display, I can go manage the default view mode and manage layout. And then, I still have to kind of fix it up because it's like, I don't want it to render when I'm looking at it when I do like a managed display or something. So I'm going to do something about that. But here you can see like, here's a call to action and it's a single directory component because in Drupal 11 they moved the single directory component module into core itself. So now it kind of just reads in your components for you. And then here you can see like here are all the different fields and then mapping values to those fields. So that way the single directory component can then go and place them there. I'll show you kind of some of the components. So if you go to structure and then components, you can see here are all my components. You can see I installed a module called Grapple Components, and it basically is it's a module that provides you your single directory components that have all the markup in that, so you don't have to start from scratch when doing it. Because there's a couple of Grapple modules you can use that helps with using Grapple as your base theme. And then I have some components that I kind of just made myself because I might want to change the markup or something. And then I'll kind of show you the architecture of the code. So I'm trying to avoid using code if I can, just because like it's easier that way. So yeah, you see contrib modules, some basic stuff, but then I have a custom module called DM Style Guide, and basically what I did for this was I wanted to have a component library, but I wanted that component library to be rendered by Drupal. So I know like some people, what they do is they maybe create like a view app and then put their markup in there, and then that way they can make changes right away, and then that gets reflected. With me, what I kind of did was I used a style guide template, so I just put all the markup inside of this template here, and then I go and have an actual route to display that template itself. So that way I can like go to this link and then just see the components itself instead of having like a separate application for standard theming the components. And then yeah, nothing crazy here, just nothing really crazy here. What else we got? I'm also using something called prism.js, which I can see if it's gonna be in the theme. So prism.js basically lets you render like code blocks, which is really nice and handy. So yeah, if I go to theme, customs, components, you can see here are the single directory components I defined. So I have the about component, and then you have your props in there, and then you have your CSS and the actual twig template itself. And let's see what else is there. Let's see if the libraries file has anything. Oh yeah, and then Prism, instead of having the module, I just kind of just loaded the JavaScript from the libraries and did an npm install. So I just loaded Prism directly through here instead of using the module, just because I couldn't figure out the module. Like I don't know why it wasn't loading the library, so I just uninstalled the module and loaded it directly. And I guess the last kind of main thing that I would talk about is just if I go over to over here. So basically, like when people make Drupal sites, a lot of them use ddev, but I use a tool called Dropfort Build Tools. And basically what it is it's a composer, like kind of like a project, but it scaffolds files into your website. So if we go into assets here, you can see that some of the different files it scaffolds in there. So you have your CI job stuff. So this is for GitLab, so you can have like dev deployments, production deployments, npm release, all that stuff. And then it also scaffolds, a Docker Compose file, so that way you can have like a Docker container, and then there's several containers in there as well. Like, if you want to run Solar in there, if you want to run tests, if you want to run, um, you know, like a mail log, so you can do testing of email locally. And then yeah, you go through here and kind of see some of the stuff it scaffolds for you. Uh, I haven't really used DDEV, but I know it's pretty popular, so it's just something that I use a lot, and might be worth checking out for some people. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I just wanted to give an update of kind of what I've done so far, and I think that what I'm going to do next is I'm gonna finish up the site in about like a week, maybe a week and a half. Deploy the site so in a couple weeks, and then my next focus is going to be to create guides. So I want to create like 10 guides, and put it out there and start getting some feedback. And then for now, I'll probably just upload these devlogs to the YouTube channel, and then eventually when I have the site up, I'll link them from there as well. So thanks for watching, and if you're interested, stay tuned.